Wyland. Sorry,
Someone
someone had that same name the other night at the restaurant and pronounced it Wheeland and correct me. I said Wyland first, and then they corrected me and said it was Wheeland. So sorry, that's what threw me. But Sean Wyland, I'm sorry.
No,
Working with you for a year and getting your name
I want
wrong.
to talk about this later on, but I feel like this person needs to get tracked down because I saw them too.
Oh, that's like the Council of Ians. We do not like the people that pronounce it Ian. That's it's right there with it. You know what? We're ignoring our guest, D.B Patterson.
A name that is not hard to pronounce, D.B Patterson.
Yes,
local Atlanta musician. Welcome.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to playing some music.
So I thought we'd try something different. Hazy IPAs.
Is that different for us?
No, it's not. We've been like on the hazy IPA kick, but
these are new though. I've not had these yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I saw the one that we're gonna taste, the second beer tonight in the store, and I had not seen it in Georgia. So some distributor has picked it up, and I was very excited because it's definitely one of my favorite forbidden fruits, and now it's no longer forbidden. So we'll try that. That's the Deschutes Brewery. That'll be the second one. And then the first one is the Elysian. We've had one of their beers before. I think it was their Blood Orange IPA, if I remember right. But we're going to try their hazy IPA, and they call it Contact Haze.
Cute.
And the Deschutes Brewery is the Fresh Haze.
Excellent. Well, before we dig into pouring the beers, DB, do you want to give us a quick introduction about yourself and your music?
Oh, okay. I'm kind of a veteran singer-songwriter. I started really kind of performing when I was in college. I was in a band called the Dharma Bums, and we played at like the girls' co-op parties and a few bars and that kind of thing. I kind of got my feet wet in that, and I really liked it. But then I kind of totally gave it up for years and years and just tried to make a living doing office work and that kind of thing. And eventually, though, when the first big crash came in like 2008 and the economy went to shit, like I lost my job and I got like extended unemployment benefits, and I hooked up with a bunch of musicians, to spend the time and make music and have fun. And that really kind of kicked me off into really being more serious about being a songwriter. And so since then I've put out like 4 studio albums. And, I was gigging around for a while. Lately the pandemic's kind of really screwed stuff up. I don't want to get out there and get sick or, make other people sick. So I've been very cautious. So in a way, I'm really happy you guys invited me to play tonight, because you get kind of rusty, just sitting around by yourself and practicing by yourself. And, it's kind of start losing confidence a little bit. So this is good. It's a chance to play in front of some people who are watching. And,
Excellent. Well,
awesome.
Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Let's dive into this, the first beer.
Awesome.
If you're ready, if you guys are ready to drink it all, I don't know.
I gave it up for Lent.
You did?
No.
But it's Friday, right? Aren't you allowed to do it on Friday then?
I ate lentils. Is that the same thing?
Yes, that's what it is.
Italian.
All right. But we're going to try the Elysian Contact Haze. Not as hazy as I would think in the glass.
Nice bouquet.
Some crazy art on the can too.
Yeah.
Wow.
My glass was a little bit dirty there, so I'm going to go with this glass.
You can see through it more than some hazies, but it's still fairly hazy. Nice. Ooh, it does smell really good.
Using the wrong glass just because I noticed that there's a little funk in that glass that I don't want to deal with. Both of those do. So
it's got a little pininess to it, but not too much. I forgot how to drink. No, oh no.
We've lost him.
I'm still here.
At least he showed me how to make the drink earlier, so we've got that at least. No, but I think this is very easy, clean drinking. I don't get the same reaction that Sean does on this.
I should have had my phone down here.
I get the pininess. But I don't really like it's got a little haze to it, little opaqueness to it, but it doesn't give you the big tropical flavors like a lot of the hazy IPAs do. And that's, I think, with the hops, you'll start with the El Dorado hops, which is the first one listed, which really gives it more of that. El Dorado kind of reminds me of the desert for whatever reason. When you get that, maybe it's the name, maybe it's just the hops in general. The taste of it gives you that like sagebrush and just dustiness.
This is drier.
Dry, yes, like a dryness to it
than a lot of the hazy IPAs. It's not, because I kind of start to think kind of juicy, kind of tropical. This is dry. It's a fairly clean ending. I still have like a little bit of residual, like that IPA kind of soapy bite on my tongue.
Well, it does have the mosaic and it does have the Citra hops. That's where you're going to get that pininess from the Citra. We've talked about the Citra hops before. Sean's learning.
I'm getting there. Yeah, this is even though it's got some of that bite, this is pretty nice. There is a little bit of a round, like a fruity roundness, like kind of the sweetness you might get from like a really ripe peach. Not quite that taste, but it's got like some of that like a sugary malt in there.
Or maybe an like underripe grapefruit and orange. Is kind of what I get.
That's definitely what the citrus bite is. There's a certain like softness right in the middle as you're sipping it. But it's
it's almost like
cute.
like a honeysuckle or white flowers kind of note to it.
I can deal with that. Yeah,
I like that it isn't for an IPA. The hops aren't overpowering.
Right.
It's like so many of those beers. They really just try to just blow you out of the water with them.
Yeah, I can definitely drink this. Taste, I could sit and drink this.
Yeah, I don't really want to have like
and I will.
bitterness staring contest with my beer. Like, can I drink you or are you drinking me?
So this one is 6.0 on the ABV, and then 39 on the IBUs.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have thought higher.
What's the
I would have
second
thought probably
one?
like
IBU. So basically, that's so it's basically a rating of how bitter the beer is going to be.
Uh-huh.
But when you add malts, you kind of can change that. So what it really is measuring is when hops go into the beer, they resonate and they add this. I'd have to look back in the notes to see what the note is. But
you kind of got it. They literally add resin.
To the beer. And that's a measure of that certain. It's a certain resin. I forget what it's called, and that's a measurement of that. So it's an actual scientific. There's this much per unit in this beer, And some guys get real crazy and want to jack it up as high as they can just to see what they can do, and it's really not the greatest measurement of how bitter the beer is going to be.
Yeah.
Taste-wise. But it does give you
taste-wise.
an idea of how much of this stuff is left over, kind of thing.
It's more of how it's going to affect your palate, I think, than anything. Like with texture-wise, if you're going to get a real like dryness from it, or soapiness, like Sean says, where you almost get the foam that gets on your tongue. Right. And I would think that would be part of what you get from that.
While we're sipping on this, DB can kind of mention that you started off in a band. Was it that here in Atlanta?
No, that was when I was going to college at Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh,
Badger.
Nice. We didn't assume the Badger unless it was maybe like a local community college. So what took you from that band like here to Atlanta?
I came down here with a girlfriend at the time. I was looking to Madison seemed like a hard place. Like I've been around. I'll just go out and say it. That was back in the '80s, a long ass time ago, and it was after I graduated from college. I was just like working in like a Italian restaurant, not really going anywhere. And it's like I knew I had to break that cycle, and so anyway, I tried to do the DJ thing. I went back to my hometown and I was a DJ for like a week at a AM station that was like simulcast, like two channels. It had like a music channel and then or information channel and sports. But it was this was my first radio job, and they had me like trying to run two freaking things at once, and I just couldn't deal with it. It was like, it'd keep me up till like 2 when I got off, and then I'd be too wired to sleep. And then I would be exhausted the next day, and it just ground me down. I was stressed out, and I wasn't making any money. So anyway, after that, I met this girl. While I was taking some like classes at a tech college, and anyway, we kind of hooked up, and her folks were down here in Atlanta, and I followed her down and lived with them for a little while and got on my own feet. And that's how I came down here.
Very cool.
Excellent.
That almost sounds like it could be a song.
It could be, yeah. From Wisconsin to Georgia.
Or even just being an AM DJ.
Like a Tom Petty song almost, it would be.
I like it. Very
All
cool.
right.
But,
let's move along to the Deschutes. The one I'm excited about.
No, why do I know the name Deschutes? I know you've talked about it, but I can't remember what.
They're out of Oregon, and they're definitely a up and coming craft brewery. Had them a couple times when I go out west. I've had it. I've smuggled some back into Georgia a couple times, but
it's got an artichoke on that.
Yeah, that's a hop.
Oh, it's a hop. Tell who's the expert.
Wait, but so no, artichokes are thistles, and hops are related to weed.
Yep.
But I don't know if is weed technically a thistle as well?
I don't think so. Weed and hops are closer than artichokes, I think.
I feel like that's a whole episode right there.
Yeah.
And you can cook with all of them. No,
Weed with hop versus hops and artichoke with artichoke vinaigrette. All right, so we've got the Fresh Haze from Deschutes Brewery out of Bend, Oregon. They make some seriously good beer, I think. This beer is definitely a lot darker. It's almost orange in color.
Yeah,
like
the other one's kind of hay yellow.
The same color as the can.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, very orangey. This one's much, much more opaque. I'm putting my finger on the other side of it. I can barely see a difference.
Mm-hmm. And you get big nose on that. They said that it's intensely juicy, irresistibly hazy, freshly squeezed. No fruit was harmed in the making of this beer. So you are safe, Sean.
Hooray! Great. Right. Just always got to keep that in my back pocket.
Yeah. All right. So this one is 6.5 ABV, and it's 45 on the IBU. So about the same, maybe a little higher. It actually is a little bit higher.
I could see where it's higher, but taste-wise, it's so juicy. It doesn't seem as bitter.
I agree.
Yeah. Like you got so much more flavors that you're thinking about in the beer than how bitter the beer is itself.
Wow. Yeah, and this is, I think it's a bit more complex than.
And it's got
no offense to the other.
Yeah.
To Elysian. Sorry, where are you? There's Elysian.
The Elysian is easier drinking than this. I could drink 3 or 4 of the Elysians. I'm probably down to maybe 2 of these.
It does. I mean, yeah, you're right. It does feel like you have to think about it while you're drinking it because it does.
Yeah.
It's doing a lot to your palate. I mean, because it does have that little extra bitterness, so you taste that at a point, but it's also juicy. There's I'm gonna taste it again. Hold on.
So definitely had tropical notes on it, like pineapple, guava.
Wow. Yeah, it reminds me vaguely, not really directly, but vaguely of like a Tropicalia.
Yeah. I've got one of those in here too. If we want to compare that later. See what we can do.
Actually, yeah, I'd like to hear that in the post show, just to see if maybe I'm totally wrong, but it
Throw it
does
to
kind of have that.
throw an East Coast. See what we get from it. But very good. I'm glad to have found Deschutes here in Georgia. Definitely go check them out.
I'm going to throw it out there. Deschutes sounds like more of a Wisconsin name than an Oregon name.
Nope. There's actually Deschutes is actually a town in Oregon. I think there's the Deschutes River.
I'm just throwing, maybe because DB is here and I was like, he's like Madison. I'm like, it does sound like a Wisconsin name, but
It does.
and I think I went to school with someone named Shoots.
Okay.
Like if you took off the duh, it would be like the same. Yeah. Anyway.
The It's not. It's part 1, not part 2. It's just the shits.
What? So,
shoots.
DB. Oh no, we're fine. DB, as we're sipping on our Deschutes. What? Well, you kind of walked us through briefly in your introduction of sort of how you took some time off, got back into music in the last recession in 2008, 2009. How has this year been for you creatively? Like, what have you been? Have you been doing anything? Have you just been trying to ride it out?
Well, last year, at the end of last year, I came out with this album. It's called The Prophet of Doom. And it was largely inspired just by, how everybody was freaking out with the pandemic and everything. I mean, the titles, some of the songs on this album are The Prophet of Doom, Ruled by Fear, The Levee Won't Hold, Pandemic 2020. Those are the ones in Empty Streets. Those are the ones that kind of, that I wrote to kind of capture the times.
Yeah, pretty lighthearted stuff.
But it's a great album. In fact, I'll leave The Prophet of Doom here for y'all if you want.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Then I brought a couple other
Especially
ones.
if you
Before that, I did Thelma, which was, this is my mom. She passed away a couple years ago. She had dementia. So I took most of my better studio songs at that time and made an album, like a kind of a greatest hits, dedicated to my mom, Thelma. And the one before that, I had a lot of fun making. It was Abide, and I made the cover of the artwork, so it's like the Beatles.
And I was about to say, it looks like Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, I wanted to make a kind of a parody cover of that, and that's another good album. Of course, I'm biased, but it was fun to. Back then, you could have a CD party and didn't have to worry about people dying or anything.
Right.
I
was gonna say, like you said, between 2008 and now, you've released 4 albums. That's a consistent amount of songwriting.
Thank
in
you.
10 years.
Yeah, I wrote a couple new ones too, but I'm still a few new ones, but I'm still getting comfortable playing and singing them. So they're not really ready for prime time yet.
Gotcha. Well,
But I work with
force that on you.
Donnie Hammonds at the After Dark Studio in Cartersville, and he's just a brilliant musician. He plays all the leads and bass and stuff on my albums. There's a plug for Donnie.
Yes, actually, Donnie should come on. Donnie, if you're listening.
Yes, Donnie.
We'll get you some beer. I'd like to think I know the answer, but so as you kind of mentioned, like all these albums, and you have some songs that aren't quite ready. You're still working on them. Do you find like over time you kind of have to revisit some of your older songs and relearn them in bits?
Ah, I try to practice all the ones that are the best songs so I don't forget them. That's like a constant source of anxiety because I don't write down all the chords, and usually I write down the lyrics, but I don't write
Okay.
down the actual music and the chords. So, I have to play them. Otherwise I get really rusty and I forget how to play them. And my very first album, actually I made five. I have five albums. The very first one I made in 2010 or 2011, it was really not a very good album. It had some good songs on it, but I was just that was my first studio album, and I was really not really back as a musician that much yet. But I did write some pretty good songs of that. I'm thinking of going back and redoing most of the album, doing it right this time. Actually, I did redo a couple songs over time and put them on a couple other albums, but it'd be nice to have like a 10-year anniversary album, except redone, and done right.
Actually, yeah, that
Like a Get 'Em to the Greek style reunion show. Sean knows Sean loves it when I bring up that movie.
I do like that movie. The sad thing is, it took me like 6 years to actually watch that movie.
Have you seen the movie?
I have, but I probably wasn't paying enough attention when I was watching it.
Oh. If you've seen the movie, you should pay attention to that movie. It's hard to not pay attention because it just keeps going. It's great. It's like the life of a rock star. And it's like, yeah. The Jeffrey.
Who's
My dog
the
is
star? Is it that English guy?
Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember.
And Jonah Hill.
What
You
do
know the way it is sometimes though with movies, it's like it can even be a good movie, but
Mhm.
if you happen to watch it at a time you're not really quite into that vibe of that movie,
Yeah.
you just it doesn't make an impression on you. But then some other time you watch it, it's like, wow, that's a great movie, man. Why was I so stupid not to recognize that when I watched it the first time?
We'll have to revisit it then.
Yeah.
Because I think that movie is hilarious.
But for now, are you ready to play a song?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So this song is
Watch him break
kind of
out, stroke the
popular
furry
one-
walls. No, I'm just kidding. Go.
Popular one of my songs. It's kind of fun. The song's about something us guys do that gets us in a lot of trouble with our women. It's called Wandering Eyes. Holding my baby's hand, walking down the street, see a Georgia peach, looking mighty sweet. An ordinary guy, we all have wandering eyes. I'm out with my baby, shopping at the store. A blonde walks up, looking too good to ignore. An ordinary guy, we all have wandering eyes. Talking to my baby, cruising in the car. Brunette drives by, she's looking like a star. An ordinary guy, we all have wandering eyes. I'm an ordinary guy, I love her till I die. But she got to understand, a hound's gotta hunt, a bird's gotta fly. A woman casts a spell upon a man, yeah. The day my baby took me by the hand, she said, "Be your only woman, you'll be my only man. And I'll never compromise," she said. "Change your ways or I'll blacken your eyes." I said, "Hey, darling, wait a minute. Well, I'm an ordinary guy. I love you till I die. But you got to understand, a hound's gotta hunt, a bird's gotta fly. A woman casts a spell upon a man, yeah."
an ordinary guy. We all have wandering eyes. Well, I'm an ordinary guy. We all have wandering eyes. Yes, I'm an ordinary guy. We all have wandering eyes.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right, thank you so much.
Nice. That was awesome.
Yeah, I like to write songs that are, you know, I pay a lot of attention to the lyrics, try to make them kind of clever, and those a song like that one's one of my favorite ones because sometimes I get a little bit gloomy and stuff in my, the topics of the songs. I want people to have fun when they come see me, so.
That was a fun one, actually.
Yeah.
So Ian, I just out of curiosity, so I know it's about cocktail time. Did you get the little the package that I handed off to?
Yeah, there's like some pickled eggs in there.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
It's exactly what it sounds like. So I to be honest, have never had a pickled egg.
Oh my God! You're
We're working in bars for as long as I have, and having bartended in the Midwest, it seems like that's be a place where you have it. And I thought, and I've been thinking about it for a long time, we should have a pickled egg on the show together. Even though you so graciously prepped those cocktails that we're going to have in a minute.
Yeah,
I think we.
Well, there just happens to be two of them in here, so guess what?
It's funny. It's like the eggs in the bar. That is funny. I just remember those big
that
jars
is a
with
Midwest
the.
thing.
It's like a jar full of eyes or something.
I'm fairly certain I'm the first person to have bought a jar of pickled eggs at Publix in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And here they are, Big John's
Oh,
pickled
you bought
eggs.
these at Publix.
I did.
You can tell he's impressed.
So how do you eat them? You eat them with like the shell and everything?
These should not be shelled, or they should not be. There's no shell on these ones.
Gotcha.
Oop! Oh wow, I pinched it in half almost. So,
Here, get on this.
wow, that's really weird to see, like how far the red goes in on
There's
this.
a napkin, too.
The yolk is still perfectly yellow.
Well, I think it's moving.
Yeah.
Right.
You have the.
It just smells pungent.
It's almost got the consistency of a little rubber ball.
Yeah.
It does. So I did look it up.
Why is it
pickled
red?
The dye.
I guess.
I don't-
I guess it's what? Apple cider vinegar or red wine vinegar?
I think there happens to be some dye in these eggs, but I believe they also change it so it's not too unappetizing from the vinegar or turning
Fucking
gray just
red.
from pickling.
That's supposed to be appetizing. The egg is red.
So it looks fun when you throw it up later on after you
I
drink too
guess,
much.
yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Maybe. Jeez.
Well, I'm willing to give this pickled egg
All
a
right.
chance. Damn it!
All right. Are
should
we
we
That's
trying
the
this?
best thing I ever
Are we
ate.
trying this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like hard.
Huh.
Hmm.
I mean, really, if you like the taste of vinegar, it's a vinegar hard-boiled egg,
No.
which I can see. So
It's
there's
not bad.
I had done a quick search on like origins of pickled eggs. And I'm like, oh, it dates back to at least the 1700s, and mostly with German immigrants, and very still popular with the Pennsylvania Dutch. And I feel like, taste-wise, that all tracks. But it was used as a part of a food staple for Hessian fighters in the Revolutionary War. So it's the stuff that revolutions are made of. America.
I guess.
Woo.
You get drunk.
to wash that down.
Maybe I'll eat it later.
Don't the Koreans pickle eggs? It's something that they do.
They do kimchi, pickled cabbage, which is the best. Like, if you like any kind of pickled stuff while you're drinking, kimchi is amazing. It's spicy, garlic, pickled cabbage. I used to eat a jar of it after shows. I love that stuff so much. Wow, that was.
Isn't pickled cabbage just kind of like sauerkraut, or?
Yeah, it's like spicy sauerkraut. Like if you put some chili in sauerkraut, a little extra garlic.
Well,
You're in the same bandwagon.
Busted looking mint.
So, for our cocktail this week, I got some rye for Ian. So we have 2 ounces of rye. Mostly because I knew I was doing the pickles, so I was trying to do something nice in return.
You're gonna have to
1 ounce of lemonade.
participate.
Before I get too far in there, I'm going to throw a couple
You
dashes
gotta
of
give it a good
bitters.
smack before you put it in your drink. So he'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Thanks. I appreciate
Well, I
it.
would, but you're talking over me, Ian. You bum.
That's why
And half ounce of aperol. So just to repeat that, 2 ounces of rye, 1 ounce of lemonade, half ounce of aperol, 2 dashes of bitters, and a little smack of some fresh mint.
So I'm still waiting for the drink to be called that has the mint that you do the mint smack to be called the Prodigy.
Smack
For
my mint up.
the smack my mint up.
I'm glad you demonstrated that because I didn't really know what you were talking about.
Yeah, you got to give it like a
There
little,
you go. Perfect.
smack.
Now, the reason for smacking mint versus muddling it, like really, really hard, is there's a lot of oils in mint, but a lot of them are very bitter. So smacking it releases a lot of these sweeter essential oils without making your drink super bitter. And that's why we do that.
And it's
So-
kind of it's really more of a, I think anyway, it's more of an aromatic thing that you get from it. So when you get into that drink, you got a big puff of mint.
That's why I like it on here, like up top, too, because you can smell it.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, this is like kind of a moving into summer, warmer weather kind of drink. Still got the rye, but the aperol kind of adds that orangey, slightly bitter note.
And the bitters as well.
Right. I like to think the bitters just kind of it out, but yeah.
Have you ever? Good grief. Have you ever?
We're killing our guest here.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
Okay.
Does anybody know CPR?
I do, but I'm
CCR.
over here.
Okay, so anyway, I was going to say it kind of reminds me a little bit of an old. Have you ever had an old pal?
An old what?
An old pal. It's a drink with Campari. It's like that. Really, you guys know what Campari is. You
Yeah.
know a lot more about
Yeah,
drinks. than
Very
me.
similar to Aperol.
Same maker. And actually, yeah, I was doing research on aperitifs, just because Campari and Aperol are some of the original aperitivos, and so we did an episode or a couple episodes where we've had Campari and Aperol. We talked about the origins, but aperitifs or aperitivos in general are a pretty broad category. They're just a herb bitter liqueur and or a vermouth. So they're generally wine based, but that's like that's it. And it's partly because of where they came from, but also because aperitivi, or having an aperitif, is actually as much of a thing to do as a thing to drink. So it's supposed to basically it's a noun and a verb, and it's a very popular like thing to do in Italy, where it's almost like happy hour. It's the drink you have before you eat. And the reason supposedly that they're bitter is because bitterness actually whets your appetite. Instinctually, humans think of, or our bodies think of something bitter as maybe something poisonous. So it then wants to eat to help dilute whatever that is, potential poison that you put in your stomach.
We're interesting creatures.
And there you have aperitifs.
Hey, does this guy know how to party or what? A little reference to earlier.
I know. I gotta be in the right crowd for that, but dang it, this is a show about booze. I feel like I'm in a safe space.
David, you
Take it
have
away,
another song
DB.
for us?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about the song before you play it.
Oh, okay.
We like our stories. We're like VH1 here.
So, this song is something it's hard for me to write like a love song, something that's kind of tender, because most of them sound so damn corny. But this just kind of came to me kind of naturally, and I wanted to write it for the woman I live with. I've lived with her for over 20 years now. We're not married, but anyway, it was just kind of a way to express my emotions for her. So it's called "I'll Be Holding You," and it's part of it was because we've lived through the good times and the bad times, and we're still together. Heard the news today, it's hard to feel okay. There's so much trouble in these times, so much has passed away. Is there nothing left to say? Put a smile on our faces, peace in our minds. Whatever the future holds tomorrow, I'll be holding you. I'll be holding you. I'll be holding you. I'll be holding you. We've seen dark days of sorrow. We've seen love and laughter too. Well, I'm not the one to beg or borrow. Still, there's so much that I owe you. Trying to make ends meet, stay on my own 2 feet. The world keeps passing me by, passing me by. Gotta hold on to the past, no, it doesn't last. The memories remain, and time is passing by. Whatever the future holds tomorrow, I'll be holding you. 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 Whatever the future holds tomorrow, I'll be holding you. All right, thank you so much.
Holy crap! I need another sip and a cuddle. That was great, man. That was really awesome.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving the camera angles around there. There we go. Wow, that was a really emotional way to wrap up the show. I love you guys.
I almost want to softly say it's time for
Shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs.
I'd buy that for $1.
Where's Earl Scheib when you need him?
DB, let's start with you.
All right, you can find my music on iTunes, Amazon. You can subscribe to me on Spotify. I'm on there. And CD Baby. And, these are my albums again. The ones I brought tonight, I got more. But this is Thelma, kind of a greatest hits album. This is Abide. named really the title song's inspired by The Big Lebowski. Maybe I'll play it before I leave. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And Prophet of Doom, my latest and greatest, about the times we just lived through, and also it's got some fun songs on it too. Everything I do isn't like, even if it deals with stuff that's a little dark, it's got some humor in it, so it isn't like real depressing. I don't like to depress people.
I dig it, man. It's been really fun to listen to you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, moving on to the beery plugs. Of course, if you're wherever you happen to watch this, YouTube, Facebook, Patreon, anywhere else in the interwebs, be sure to like, share, and follow us so that we know that you like what you're seeing and that you want to see more of it. Of course, on Facebook, we're fb.me/Beery Traveler. I was also told recently you don't say / anymore. You just say / because no one uses backslashes, and that makes me sad because that makes me feel old. But, however, it's still a /
Backslashing is kind of like getting old.
Right?
If you're backslashing.
You're in the backslash stage of your life.
You're
On Instagram, we're
backslashing,
_Beery_Traveler. On Twitter, we're Beery_Traveler. On Patreon, we're patreon.com/Beery Traveler. You can watch us wrap up the show and do what we do afterwards, which is generally finish our drinks and talk about random stuff. But
shenanigans.
Sometimes there's an extra song in there and we have a little bit of fun. Thank you to Ty, our director, who always tells us how to light ourselves and look good. And I apologize, I got a new light this week, and I'm a little washed out. But hey, new lights. Thank you to all the viewers for watching us. We appreciate you. Thank you to Atrocity Girl, our very first Patreon patron, who also I sent another bottle of hot sauce to this week. So if you're watching, it's on the way. Next week we have Barry Richmond, who will be joining us for more music and drinks. Take it away, Ian.
Yeah, so thanks again for showing up and hanging out with us. I'm a Beery Traveler. You can catch us on Friday nights, just hanging out, drinking beer, and listening to some music. But until next Friday, Sean, get us out of here. I'm going to eat this egg.